Hey, welcome back to Ashley Rants. So, today is not going to be so much of a rant versus me just talking about my day to day and what's going on with me. Uh, what's currently going on with me and what's been going on with me for a very, very long time. Oh, wait, sorry, forgot to say. Please like, share, and subscribe. Uh, share, subscribe, and comment. So I'm trying to get used to saying that. I forgot to say that in the first two videos. But please, I implore you, support the up and comings. And it might be a little early to call myself an up and coming because I'm up. I might not be coming yet, but I'm up. so, so just help support me so I can keep doing these videos and hopefully give more content. So, I am, I want to say that I am pretty proud of myself because this is week 2 of me having the videos, doing videos, and this is my third video. Proud of myself because I'm being somewhat consistent with this, but to be candid, I was supposed to have a video out, 2 videos out in between the last time I put a video out and now, but I got a cold and I went down for the count. I was not okay. I was not okay at all. Okay. So, so I'm still proud because I feel like I'm getting over it. Um, but I wanted to explain my absence, but also give myself a pat on the back because I have a tendency to be down on myself when I don't do things strictly how I want them to be done. So, yeah, that's what's going on with that. But this episode, when you clicked on it, you probably saw this episode is about migraines. Um, I have been dealing with migraines for as long as I can remember, honestly. I remember having a conversation with my mom and I have very sporadic memories about my childhood. I don't remember a lot. A lot of things are like mushed together. Trauma is a thing. so, so when a memory comes through clear, it's impactful to me. Um, I remember having a conversation when I was about 13, 14 years old with my mother about the fact that and at the time I was just calling them headaches. Like I always have these headaches, and then I always felt bad about having headaches because I can't prove that I have a headache. It just seems like I'm being lazy. So, but I always constantly had headaches. And then I later found out that they were migraines. From this conversation, I found out that they were migraines because my mom told me that she used to suffer from migraines from the time that she was young to the point where she was in her early 20s. And then I remember she used to say that my brother also suffered from migraines. So that conversation is impactful in my mind because not only did it identify that my issues were real, because to me, it's also the equivalent of saying I'm depressed. But I always feel the need to, if I'm going through a bout of depression, which I do suffer from depression, I feel the need to prove that I'm depressed because you can't see it. And otherwise, I feel like people just think I'm using it as an excuse and think I'm being lazy. So this validated that what I was dealing with was, in fact, real. It was not overlooked. But also in my head, it meant when I hit from 20 to 23, these migraines are going to be done. So I might have to soldier through this joint. But then I'm going to get there. And then they're just going to be done. Because genetics, right? If that's how my mom was, and then at the time I didn't know that that's what was going to happen with my brother, but pretty much as far as I'm aware, with my brother around between the ages of 20 and 23, his migraine stopped. I'm like, okay, I just got to get there. I'm 36 now. They never stopped. I don't know how the genetics sort of skipped me on that aspect because I got the migraines, but I didn't get the stopping. So it's been there's been times when I've it's been debilitating for me, where I there's been years when I would say 50 to 75% of the year I had a migraine, some form of a migraine. And at this point, for my personal being, if I have a migraine, I still call it a headache, but everybody knows I'm referring to a migraine. But in my head, I'm like, okay, on a level of 1 to 10, what is my migraine at today? Because I always have at least a 1. And up into a 4, it's bearable for me. Like, you can't tell right now, I have a migraine. Why? Because I'm used to dealing with it. So it's bearable. Like, I can cope very easily. It's when it hits that 5 marker that things starts to get a little shaky. I get a little attitude. Things get a little questionable. If I get to an 8, I'm not functioning. Like, I'm staying in bed. A 9, I'm crying and I'm convincing myself not to go to the ER. If I go to the ER, I'm passed out. If I'm at a 10, that means I'm passed out. I don't know I'm at a 10 because I'm passed out from the pain. Like, I done collapsed somewhere. Thankfully, a 10 has not happened. I've gone to the ER very, very rarely for this, but every time I've gone, they have not been able to do anything, which is why I refuse to go to the ER at this point, because it it's just a bill that I'm gonna have to pay, and me getting that bill in the mail for me knowing that nothing happened, that's only going to serve to give me a bigger migraine, because who got money for that? Because we live in America and America's broke. um so yeah, that's how my migraines, kind of how I deal with my migraines, regarding, I don't want to say that's how I cope with them, but that's how I recognize them and acknowledge them. um there are days when I can say, oh, to completely exile what I previously said, there's days where I can say I have a headache and not a migraine. And usually that's like a low grade 1 migraine. Is teetering on a is really not that bad kind of situation. But there's days where I feel like I'm at a 6 or a 7, and I don't want to acknowledge it because I don't want to ruin plans. As I said before, I am planning a wedding, and I've said this fleetingly, very nonchalantly in passing to multiple people, but I really do have a fear that I am going to wake up on September 6th and have the worst migraine in my world. Like, worst migraine in my life. Because right now I have anxiety about planning anything. Like, I plan things all the time and I get very excited. I'm a very excitable person. Like, I love life. Like, and I love doing new things. I so love all of that. But there's always that voice in the back of my head that, why are you even getting excited? Because you're not going to be able to function that day anyways, right? Like, you want to go to the movies to see that premiere on opening weekend? Let's try 3 weeks after it opens. And then speaking of movies, I've gotten to the point where now I go to the movies and I have to wear headphones just so I can sit through the loudness of the movie theater. And then there's times when I have to tell my fiance, like, hey, tell me when the scene is over, because it's like so many flashing lights and so bright. It's just too much of something, and it triggers a migraine. So I have ways of coping with situations where I will risk my migraine, either getting a worse migraine or dying because I don't want to not live. And when I have a migraine, I'm stuck in the bed. Like I can't do anything. And then which adds to my anxiety of, am I just lazy? Do I really have a migraine or am I just lazy? And then I try to move and I'm like, no, no child, you have a migraine. And then what's bad is my migraines don't manifest like everybody else's migraines. Um, a lot of times I can deal with, what I'm finding lately is my migraines manifest, how they get worse is I work at a call center, and it's like the more I talk, the more pressure builds up in my head. That makes my migraine worse. I can deal with sound. Sometimes I can deal with light. Sometimes I can deal with sound, not all the time. Sometimes I can deal with light. I don't really have the nausea that goes with it. It's just the pain that comes to my fingertips and my toes. That's what I have to deal with. So, working at a call center where your migraine gets worse the more you talk because you feel like pressure is building up, it's 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 bananas. It's bananas. I got There's days when I can go to work and I can do this thing called being on outs where I just work the emails. Those are the best days of my life because first off, I'm more efficient when I'm doing it because I don't have to deal with the pressure building up. And then I don't have to deal with the anxiety of, oh, I'm at a 1 today, so I'm feeling good. But the more I talk, it's going to build up. So maybe it might build up. So maybe I'll end up at a 4 by the time I get off at 4:30. So, or I'm taking calls on any said day. And I take a call and I got to sit in after call work where I'm not having any inbound calls come in for 10 minutes just so I can let the pressure come down. That's what I'm having to do in my everyday, day-to-day life, and it is maddening. Um I have notes this time, but I am still jumping around. I just looked at my notes and I was supposed to talk about this part at the end. But so what I'm doing to cope, and I already talked about my anxiety, but I'm gonna get this thing together. I swear, y'all. So at this point, okay, like let's double back. I spoke about how all week I've had a cold. But before I had the cold, I pretty much didn't get any. I I had like a level 2 migraine for like 3 weeks. Maybe a here or there would upgrade for 1 day, but overall level 2 for like 3 weeks. So to me, I'm cured. Yeah, that's a livable level for me. So I'm happy. So if I'm at a level 2 and then all of a sudden I go to a level 7, I'm like, why did this switch up for me? And I remember I went to like a level 7 on a last Saturday night. And I'm like, why do I have a migraine? What's happening here? What did I do to trigger it? Because I still to this day don't know what my triggers are. I know when I'm about to start my cycle, the week before and the week after, I'm dead. So and then the week of, I'm dead. So that's 3 weeks out of the month. That is going to be they're going to be very rough weeks. So I have one good week to count on in a month, and that was supposed to be last week. So it's giving. I couldn't figure out what triggered it, and then I started to feel that ickiness of, oh, I'm about to get a really bad cold situation happening. And then I was a migraine that just sat in the back of my head the whole week. The whole week is just sitting in the back of my head, and there's nothing I can do. I'm taking Tylenol, that does not do anything, but I still take it because they say I don't know why I still take it. Maybe it helps me feel like I'm doing something for it, but it very rarely works unless I take like 8 of them suckers, and then next thing you know, I gotta convince somebody I'm not popping pills. I have this miracle medication called Ubrelvy, which I found out. I've been friends with Mo for 4 years. So maybe 3 years ago, I found this medication from my doctor, and it worked. It was the first, like, I've been on so many medications. I've had MRIs, I've had CAT scan. I don't know the things. I've had the things. I've had all the things. Uh, and I've had blood work. I've had everything. And this was the first thing that worked, right? The first thing. So my doctor gave me like 8 samples of this, and I'm like, it would knock me out for 2 hours flat. I would take the pill, give it an hour, I'm asleep after that hour for 2 hours, then I wake up, I'm good until the next episode. So, what do? I go tell my doctor, hey, this prescription is amazing. It's magical. Can you write it out since we know that it works for me? She says yes. She wrote me a prescription for 8 pills. Went to the pharmacy and they said it was $803. Just kill me because I can't afford to live. Kill me. Because what is this? What is this? What is this? It's like I might as well be going to the ER for them to tell me they can't do anything because I can't afford this. Especially when I'm having, at the time, I was having episodes half the month, so 15 days a month, and you're only giving me 8 pills. And I still have to pay bills. It's not. And then I tried the discount cards. I tried everything. And the discount card on the website said, get it for as little as $0. I'm like, okay. Went to the pharmacy, like, that's cool. It's $800. Slide this discount card on there. They said because I have insurance, they can't use the discount card. I said, okay, take the insurance off. They said they're not allowed to do that. If the discount card ain't for the people who are poor, then who is it for? Like, help me understand. I don't get it. So fast forward to, I have a new doctor. I'm in a new city, so I have a new doctor. And I lucked out. I didn't even know this is the doctor's office I was signing up for, but it's a low income doctor's office. I was just trying to find a doctor's office that could get you in ASAP. And I have a good job, but if you're paying 2015 wages in 2025, is it a good job? So I jokingly say all the time I'm poor. But I found a low income doctor's office. And with this low income doctor's office, they have a low income pharmacy where they work with the pharmaceutical companies or somebody and to get prices for things down for people. So I talked to my doctor. I'm like, hey, let's try the Ubrelvy again. If y'all saying y'all can get this price down, let's go ahead and give it a shot. Who are me to say no? And if it works, it works. If it don't, I'll just be back where I was at. The way I almost wept when the pharmacy called me and said that my prescription was ready for pickup. And I'm like, okay, how much y'all hold? Like 200, 300? Did y'all get it down that much at least? It's like, oh, there's no cost. I'm like, Jesus. Jesus. Because y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand when the one thing that works for you and you can't afford it. It's I was so grateful. I was so grateful. But now I have the pills, and it doesn't come in, like I said, it doesn't come in like a 30-day thing. It's not a preventative. It's something that you take when you feel the onset, which I don't have an onset period of it. I have, because I always have a migraine. So, and there's no onset for me. So I always have the anxiety of, should I take the pill now? Is it bad enough for me to risk one of my 8 pills now? Or should I wait until I think the migraine is going to get really bad and then take it? Because I don't want to have me not have the pills and it get really bad. Because then I'm not going to be able to function. And I'm going to be like, I shouldn't have taken it. I could have just taken like 45 Tylenol and lied to myself and just stayed in bed and tried to pretend like it wasn't happening. Again, that's a joke. I do not pop pills. I do not. At the most, I will take 3 Tylenol. At the most. And I know that's still above what the bottle say, but I don't care. I will take 3 if it's bad. But I even try to avoid doing that because I don't like taking medication as much as I'm talking about medication right now. So that's how I'm coping now. But that anxiety of my wedding day, still waking up and being like, this is the worst migraine of my life, that is still ever present. It is like it. I suffer from anxiety. I have high anxiety. I have depression. I have high anxiety. Um, so this just adds on to it. I have so many things wrong with me, y'all. I'm okay with everything. Like I'm dealing with everything that I'm having to deal with. It's not an issue. So I don't look down. I'm not sad about it. Like if I run down all the stuff that I'm dealing with, is let's run down all the things that I'm dealing with. So, because I suffer from chronic migraines, I have anemia, which I always forget that I have anemia because I don't know why. So I suffer from chronic migraines. I have anemia. I have PCOS, which PCOS a lot of times does not affect people. Then other people it affect crazy. And for me, I feel like it didn't affect me for a very long time. I might do an episode on PCOS. Yeah, I'm gonna do an episode on PCOS. I'm gonna write better notes and I'm gonna stick to my notes and not jump around. I'm gonna go chronological because I had a order to how this was supposed to go today. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get better. So I have chronic migraines, PCOS, anemia, depression, anxiety, diabetes. There's something else. There's 2 other things. There's so many things that I always forget. Episodic insomnia, asthma. Those were not the 2 things though. I don't know what the other 2 things are, but I do have episodic insomnia and stress-induced asthma. So those are, I think 7 or 8. I don't know. Those are some of the things that I have to deal with, and most of them are medicated. Thankfully, I'm off of my medication for anxiety and depression. I'm very proud of that because I went through a very, very long bout. I'm going to do an episode on all the stuff that I deal with, like medical stuff. Like each individual thing, I'm going to do an episode on. Because there's a story behind the depression, and then there's a story behind the the stress-induced asthma. That's a true story. The PCOS is a story. Because me and God was fighting for a long time. But God, I didn't see the blessing in that diagnosis. But I'm still struggling with it. Because and there's not really a story behind the diabetes, but I feel like the diabetes is kind of karma for some, if I'm being honest. So yeah, that's everything I'm having to deal with personally. But with rolling back to the migraines, because I have all this stuff I'm dealing with day to day, you never know what's going to happen with me. But also, the migraines are probably the most debilitating thing that I have to deal with. And my wedding, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pause that long, but my fiance is in the other room listening to a song I did not know existed until I met him, talking about how short people got no reason to live. And I'm mad he introduced me to that song, and I'm trying to figure out why the heck he's listening to that dang song because it's disrespectful. Short people will survive. I will survive. So I'm sorry. But with my wedding, I'm so easily distracted, y'all. I really am. It's a problem. It's I was talking to my fiance the other day. Like, I am afraid I'm going to get up there to say my vows at the wedding ceremony, and I'm going to go full squirrel mode and just be like, "Oh well, do you remember that time?" So we have it. He's going to just like hit my arm and be like, "Okay, focus." So we have a contingency plan in case squirrel kicks in. Okay, so uh, back to my wedding day. I I I halfway want to just wake up on a random Tuesday and go to a justice of the peace just so I know that I don't ruin our wedding day. I have a very high anxiety about that. Or I have a high anxiety of, okay, I have a very bad migraine, but maybe today is going to be one of those days that I fake it. And I don't want to look back at my wedding knowing that, oh, we're doing our first dance, but the violins in the song was grating something in my brain to the point where it felt like someone was scraping a potato peeler across my skull. It like sometimes it's like that, and I'm just faking. I'm smiling through it because I don't want to ruin the day for anybody else. Because so much time and effort has been put into this, and I wanted this day so bad, but I'm dying on the inside. And I hate it when I have days when I know that I don't speak on the severity of my migraine. And I look back on photos of me that day and I don't see the joy that was present. I just see the pain that was in. Like, legitimately, I'm about to cry just thinking about it. Like right now, like I said, I'm good right now, but also crying is a trigger. So, but it's not. I'm afraid for my wedding day. I also want to get married at a Justice of the Peace on a random Tuesday because I want to hurry up and marry that man because I'm obsessed with them. But beyond that, I have this anxiety with that comes along with my migraines. I'm afraid to have good days because I'm like, when is the bad day going to come? I can't enjoy my good day because I think, okay, in my head it's starting to hurt worse now as I'm 28 minutes into this and I feel the pressure building up right here. Um, but me living with a migraine. It's me living with a migraine is either me faking it throughout the day, or on days I can't fake it, staying in bed for 14, 15 hours at a time and convincing myself that I'm not in bed just because I'm lazy, but because I legitimately am in pain. It's me being afraid to live life because my migraine might get in the way of it. It's me trying to convince doctors that I am really dealing with this, even though when I do an MRI or whatever that scan is that they do, they don't see anything. It's me talking to members of management at my job, like, hey, just because my leg isn't broke doesn't mean that I'm not going through something. I really need this day off because you will literally be paying me to sit here because I'm not going to be able to take a call, let alone be yelled at by somebody. Story time. It's also me having to deal with doctors who are actual pill pushers and you go to for solutions and they try to get you strung out on drugs. I will never get over this, ever. So I went to a doctor and I said I would never forget her name, but I forgot her name because my memory is trash. Oh, that's the other one of the other things. COVID brain. I have very bad COVID brain. I had COVID in 2000, late 2023, and I'm still suffering from the impacts of that. But I had a doctor who I it was a, they were my primary care provider. I was going to for everything, and I said, "Hey, do I need to get a referral or something to go see a specialist for my migraines?" She's like, "No, I can just prescribe you something, and if this doesn't work, we can go ahead and see. We can prescribe you. We can set you up with a referral." I'm like, "Okay, cool. What are you going to give me?" She said, "Tramadol." I'm not a doctor. I don't know what that is. I'm like, "Okay, cool." I found it weird that I got. Usually, you get a prescription for stuff unless it's supposed to be preventative. It's not. You don't get 30 pills, right? And it doesn't tell you to take it daily. It says it might say take 2 hours every 4 hours daily as needed, but it doesn't just say daily. Period. So I got a prescription for a 30-day prescription for a high dosage of tramadol. I don't recall what the dosage was, but I remember she started me off at a low dose. That's why I'm saying high dose. Started me off at a low dose. And I'm like, the first time I took it, I'm like, I feel a little loopy, but that's just the medication. I wonder what's going on here. It's not really doing anything for my migraines though, but I'm feeling nice. So I went through that for about a month and I wasn't taking it as directed. I was not taking it daily. I would, because again, I don't like taking medication. Um, and I didn't like how it made me feel. I'm somebody who I don't, when I drink, I don't drink to get drunk. And if I do get drunk, I'm drunk for like 20 minutes and then I'm sober. It's not my thing. I tried weed, had a very bad trip. And it's not for me. I'm not somebody who likes to feel high. So, and I didn't know at the time that this was me being high. I just felt loopy and I felt sleepy. So, went to the doctor 30 days later, like, hey, I don't think this is working, but it does make me feel loopy. She's like, okay, let me up the prescription for you. And I'm like, are you sure? Let's just try something else because I don't like how it makes me feel. She's like, this is the thing to take. This is the thing. I'm like, okay, okay, if you say so, you're the doctor. She upped the prescription. We went through this ring around a rosy dance about 3 more times, and each time she upped the prescription, the dosage. Eventually, I started noticing I was getting hives every time I took it. So I realized, oh, I'm allergic to this. So let me tell her that, and maybe we can then get another prescription. But at that time, she went on vacation. At that time, I think I was like, you know what? She's not the doctor for me. So let me go somewhere else. So I went somewhere else instead of telling her I'm done. I went to another doctor's office and they did the thing where they review my prescriptions and stuff like that. And I'm like, so when we got to the tramadol, I said, so my previous doctor had me on tramadol for my migraines, but I think I'm allergic to it, and it never did anything for me. It didn't do anything for the migraine. She just upped the dosage, and it never did anything. The doctor looked me dead in the eye and said, this is a narcotic, and it is well known in the industry that these medications don't do anything for migraines. So, me being me, I'm trying to figure out how 1 plus 1 got to 85. Because if you know that this doesn't do anything for migraines, I'm telling you that it's not doing anything for my migraines. I'm telling you that I would like to try something different. And you're saying, let's go ahead and keep taking this medication. That baffles my mind. And I'm about to wrap this up. Um, so I'm like, okay, that's weird. I'm also someone who can be very naive. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. So I Googled this doctor, my previous doctor, which I didn't do before because I've never had to Google a doctor before. And it turns out she used to work for the prison system, and she got let go under suspicion of doing something weird with the medications for the prisoners. It basically alluded to she was giving them extra pills when they didn't need it, or giving them extra medication when they didn't need it for like slide under money. But she didn't get, they let her go, or she was able to resign. That's what it was. She was able to resign and nothing come about it with the board or anything like that. So she was able to go into private practice after that. In my head, you were trying to make me an addict. And I do, as much, I said I experimented with weed, yes, but I do not F with drugs. I do not. I have a hard line, and I don't do addicts. And this woman was trying to make me an addict, and I will never in my life forgive her. I will never. And I'm grateful that I did not take it as she prescribed. Because had I done that, I'll probably be strung out right now. I only took it when I was at a desperate place. And it got to the point where I'm like, I I Googled the medication, and that's when I found out that it was habit forming. And I'm obsessively watch documentaries on medications and drugs and stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm not, if I develop a habit for this, I'm not going to be the one to. Why is he listening to that song again? What is he trying to say? It got to the point where I told my then boyfriend, like, hey, I need you to hold these pills for me, because if I develop a taste for them, I don't want to develop a taste for them, but just in case I develop a taste for them, I don't want to have access to them. So thankfully, I had the mindset of that, and that prevented me from being strung out on the street somewhere. Because also, I grew up in a church. I grew up very sheltered. I don't know how to get drugs. Even if I was an addict, I would be confused. Who the heck I don't know where y'all find drugs at. I know there's drugs in my city. I know. But where do how do y'all congregate? Is there a meeting? What happens here? I don't get it. Make it make sense. I don't understand. How do you ask for drugs? Like, can I have a pill? Can I have a crack? Like, what happens here? Make it make sense. So, okay, I gotta stop laughing. Hold on. Okay. So, this has been well longer than it was supposed to be. He has restarted that song again. I'm about to go fight that man. This has been way longer than it's supposed to be. I thank you guys for tuning in on my migraine assessment. I guess this was still a rant about my migraines. The next one I think I'm gonna do is I'm thinking it's gonna be depression. The depression I think is gonna bleed into the stress-induced asthma. So it'll probably be a two-parter situation, 2-for-1 rather. So yeah, thanks for watching Ashley Rants. Like, comment, subscribe. I will do better with the formatting soon. Go with me here as I grow, please. And let me know in the comments if you can. Like, what are the lengths of videos that you like to watch? Like, I like to watch, if I know that there's one solid topic, I can watch a video for an hour. If if you're jumping around and I don't know what you're going to be jumping to, and it feels like a free for all, I got 10 minutes in me maybe. So my videos are there's a solid topic that's at the core, but I jump around a lot. So let me know if 40 minutes is too much for you. But beyond that, I thank you.